Hello everyone, this is Eric. So gonna start to record a series of tutorial. It's kind of weird for me to do that because I'm not really a professional yet. I'm still building my portfolio and I'm still learning just as many of you. So for me to do an actual tutorial, I feel I'm kind of inadequate to do it. But however, I still want to share my working process with a lot of you guys and with some of the student that I know. So, anyways, here it goes. I actually have a piece here that I just started to work on. Actually, this one is sort of this urban jungle kind of theme. I was playing Crisis 3 these days, and I'm really blown away by the quality of the graphic and the design of the urban jungle is really just captivating to me, and I really like the design and everything. So I decided to do kind of like my own version of it, and maybe just create like a scenery to it. I might take it as far as like a map painting, so everything will look kind of hyper realistic, or I might just kind of stick in the middle and do like a really detailed concept art. We'll see how far I'll take it. But before I actually start to, because I actually recorded, I kind of pre-record a, like a process that I did this one because I was actually recording this one, but for some reason Camtasia kind of freaked out on me, so they didn't keep the recording file, so I kind of have to paint it again. But this one I spent about, I would say an hour and a half to 2 hours. This one actually just half an hour, so just you can see a lot of difference here. Yeah, in terms of details and everything, this one's much more polished, but the general idea is the same. But before I'm gonna start doing that, I'm just gonna go over just a few things really basic about the Photoshop brush and things like that. I have a series of tool preset. I can show you how to make this in a separate tutorial, but basically I have different ones. I have this square chuck brush, which I use it a lot when I just start to lay in the painting. The reason being that it can make somewhat of a clean shape, and because it's kind of like a huge brush shape, so it doesn't really you don't really bog down with a lot of detail and things like that, and plus it's like really simple with like it was a little bit of texture going on, so so it's kind of like a traditional brush. So in terms of the brush setting, let me go to the brush setting. I have shape dynamic on. For this specific brush, I have, let me just turn off the transfer. I have the shape dynamic on, so when I press harder, it's wider. When I press just a little bit lighter, it's a little bit thinner. Now I have minimum diameter at like 76%, which is not that much of a difference. If I turn it all the way down to 0, then you can really start to see the difference. Right? I press a little bit and it's really thin. I press harder, it gets wider. But I don't want it to get that small. If I want to go to like very small brush, I'll just hit the bracket key, right? The bracket key. So I'll just hit the bracket key to make it bigger and smaller in that sense. So I turn it a little bit, so just so it doesn't look all the same. I also have the transfer on the flow jitter. I have it on paint pressure, so when I put it a little bit softer, when I press it down a little bit softer, it gets a little bit transparent, which kind of mimic the traditional brush, but it doesn't go like too transparent. So what I mean by that is, if I use paint pressure for the opacity jitter, for example, you can go very transparent, which I used to work that way, but not anymore. The reason is that it's very easy for the whole painting to look very soft, even too muddy. So some people do it, some people use it and they make great paintings, so I'm not saying you cannot, but I personally don't. So instead, I try to use the number key to change the opacity here. So now it's 100%. So if I press, let's say 5, it'll turn to 50%. If I press 2, 20%. So if I do like 50%, it'll be this value. And then if I press, let's see, 8 for 80%, I'll do another value here, and then maybe another value in between. So this has a little bit of have a little bit of cleaner look in a sense, because I like to use this a little bit better, so I can make cleaner value. Okay, versus if I do paint pressure, it's a little bit easier to make everything a little bit too muddy. Just turn that off. Okay, and maybe go like this value and things like. So it's really easy to make the more of a muddy painting that way. So I usually don't do that, but again, it's up to you. Okay, I like to keep it off and control the opacity that I want to paint. Okay. So that's about it. And for the, I also have other brush, such as this tree brush. Okay. So if I turn the flow and opacity all the way to 100, okay, it creates a really nice tree shape. Now, I don't really use it as in I need a tree here, so I click one here. I need another tree here, and I click one here, and then another tree, so I click one here. I don't do that at least for the initial kind of laying stage, because I usually just want it to be some sort of texture. I just want something here, so I want some bunch of trees over here, laying over here. So that's usually the way I do it. I just creating some textures initially. I don't make like individual trees, at least for the first I don't know, hour or two, when I'm just laying the big shape. Okay, so that's the tree brush. I'm gonna go into like a lot of more details maybe in the future. I got this dirt brush, which creating some dirt when I want to just kind of give it a little bit more texture, dirty some things up. So that's pretty much it as far as the layout. So I'm gonna pause Camtasia and start to play the video that I kind of pre-record for doing this one. So hopefully it's gonna be helpful for some people, and if you got any question, feel free to leave in a comment. Okay, so this is after around 2 hours of work, just kind of roughly lay in the structure and the value and maybe the color I want. Everything is very rough at this stage, which is the point. I'm just gonna rough in the basic structure and value right now. So I started with a couple photos that I took last year. I went to Vancouver. Beautiful city, a lot of huge trees and really nice city structures. So downtown Vancouver has really nice buildings, and around Vancouver there's some kind of nice parks and things like that with a lot of great trees like this. So it's definitely gonna match a couple of photos together. This is Canada Place, and I create a layer mask and just kind of take away the part that I don't need. Obviously I don't need the sky, I don't need the water part, and I don't need the building to extend all the way there. The perspective is not even right right now, because the perspective of each photo is different, but that's not the point right now. We can always fix the perspective, but I'm just getting the basic laying right now. So the other photo, I pretty much just use the concrete area as a little bit texture and value. So I kind of go back and forth to the one that I've done because I was trying to record the other one that I done, but I wasn't the Camtasia kind of freak out on me, so it doesn't really record down the whole thing. So I have to kind of redo it again, but it's about like 30 minutes. I kind of sped up 300%, but it's much more rough in this version, but I'm still trying to show, so just you guys to get an idea. So testing out some tree brush or something. I'm not really sure what I was thinking, but yeah, I started laying some texture. See, so I don't want people to see all these individual trees here. I just wanted to give it like an overall texture. So I create a layer and use multiply mode and use one of the middle value and just add some dark to it. Multiply is, you put a layer in the multiply mode, is really easy to just add some more dark to it and without losing a lot of details. So I bring in another photos for the middle building, and again I roughly kind of place the perspective in, but I'm not really worrying about it right now. I just kind of need the structure right now. So I'll just kind of block the building in and color correct it a little bit just to match the whole scene a little bit more. Scale it down a little bit and try to match what I was doing. So it's weird because something you did it once and when you try to reproduce it again, usually it doesn't work. So at this case, it definitely is not really working. And that's because a lot of time you do things kind of subconsciously. Like the first one I was doing, I wasn't really, I won't say I'm not thinking at all, but I am trying to kind of just relax, and that just let my subconscious just kind of take it away. So there's no way you can really just reproduce the spontaneity of the first one that I did. So I'm just kind of try to mimic it as much as I can. So but definitely it's the second one that I tried. It's not gonna have the first one's feeling and look to it, but again, that's not really the point. So so I kind of putting two guys there, actually three guys, to get two vanishing points. This is really basic 2-point perspective, and I using the line tool to kind of draw some details on the buildings and kind of erase out the extra lines, and I just gonna go over them, adding some more shadows, so it start to feel more like a window, and I start to paint over, get those lines out of the way, and add a little bit more. And when you hold on shift, you can make really just vertical lines, really straight vertical lines or horizontal line when you hold on shift. For some reason, like this one I'm recording, the brush is like the mouse cursor is stick up there for some reason. I have no idea why it's stuck there, but yeah, it shouldn't be like that. This new version of Camtasia, I think, still need to fuss with some settings. And start to painting some distant buildings. Just get the value right. Yeah, later on I figured that I'm in the wrong layers. The dark layer was kind of behind, so I just merged the layer together. In the beginning, I don't put that much layer at all. I usually try to keep it in one layer, or 2 or 3 the maximum, because the more layer you have, the slower your computer is going to perform. And it's always a good idea to keep just one layer, because you don't want to give yourself too much space for correction. So things like undo, when you just start off, I don't recommend you to do it. Okay, so I'm trying to create a crack using the lasso tool by pressing L. So after you select the selection, you can do some really clean shape, like this. Do Ctrl H to hide the selection so it doesn't get in the way. so we made a crack very quick. So I go back to the topic. When you just start to learn Photoshop, I don't use a lot of undo, and don't use too much layer, because the more complicated it is, the more confusing it's gonna get, and you don't really learn that much. It's good that you can paint over your mistake and to really learn from it. Even though we're not doing a traditional media, it's good to always practice in that sense. I use Photoshop. To me, it's just a tool. It's just much faster because I can pick the color. I don't need to wait till it's dry to put a second layer. It's just like acrylic, except I don't need to mix color every single time I lay down some stroke. I can just pick the color from the painting, and but everything else still apply. The value, the perspective, the composition, everything else still apply just as much as the traditional media. So Photoshop is just a tool. So don't expect just because you're using digital, everything's gonna look better because you're using Photoshop. Yeah, you can undo it in that. So the right building, I feel, is a little bit too saturated. The color is not really in harmony with the rest of the painting. So I make another layer, putting the color mode, and put a little bit more desaturated color there to kind of desat it a little bit. And clean up the building a little bit. Again, I'm always refer back to the initial layout that I did, which is that's what I'm gonna use in the end. So this is just like really quick sketch just to show you guys, give you guys an idea how it's done. Again, painting some more distant buildings. The very important thing about painting environment, especially things like this, is the atmospheric perspective, like the aerial perspective. The further away the object is further away from you, the less saturated, the less contrast it's gonna be, because all the haze and fog are in the atmosphere. So when painting a building in a distance, keep the contrast down, and you automatically push back. Besides the scale and everything, even if you have a huge scale, a gigantic building in the background, that's bigger, that is actually much bigger than the foreground element. If you put haze over it, if you push it back with atmospheric perspective, people will get it. People will get a sense of depth. So I use create another layer using color dodge tool just to lighten things up. You can easily misuse this tool because this is very strong, so I usually keep the opacity down to like 30% and don't use a color that's too bright, around mid-tone or even a darker tone. And I put another layer, multiply, just to push the value a little bit more, add some more dark. So right now I'm kind of playing with the light. Now I use the color dodge layer to add more light. I use the multiply layer to add more shadows. After I'm done, merge it together again, and just use some dirt brush to kind of dirty things up a little bit, so just give it a little bit more texture. And then I realized that the sky color is way too bright, shouldn't be pure white, so I just pick out the color I had for the other one and just kind of pen it in. In the real world, is not a lot of time you see pure white actually. Even like if you see a white wall, it's gonna be affected by light and the shadow. So especially something as a computer monitor, every color is generated by light. You have pure white on the computer monitor, it's really easy to feel blown out. Okay. So I extend the building up a little bit more. Okay, add a little bit more light. So I notice, you notice I add a little bit bigger tree brush and just kind of stuck there as a foreground element, so it creates more depth and kind of frame the shot a little bit more. So compared with what I did, this one the value is way too crushed, so I'll probably add a little bit more like lighter details, and I do an overall kind of color adjustment to make it a little bit lighter so the value wasn't so crushed. I mean, it is really contrasty, but you don't want to make it just like black and white and nothing in the middle. So this is the first hour and a half into 2 hours of work. I don't zoom in 100% for a reason, because there's no point in showing all the detail because they don't make sense. For this stage, you're just trying to get the basic shape, value, and color down. So next time I'll probably start laying some 3D models to paint over and to define things a lot more. So until then, hope it helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.